And we're going to begin today with the fight against gun violence that is coming out of the Oakland County Prosecutor's office. Karen McDonald prosecuted, of course, the parents of the Oxford High School shooter. In all of her comments after the case, she's put emphasis on new policies and programs to address gun violence, not only in schools, but of course across communities. Today, she has new information from a commission that was put together back in 2022. Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald, as you can see, is joining me live right now. Karen, it's good to see you. Thanks so much for being with me.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
All right, why don't you go ahead? We know that you just had a press conference about an hour ago talking about some of the findings from the commission. Why don't you go ahead and refresh people's memories? Who served on this commission, and then some of the key things that came out today?
Sure. Was really a joyful moment, and in the room full of, families of the victims, and also several members of I began about 2 years ago, not just in response to the Oxford tragedy, but also the rising deaths and due to gun violence for our kids. It's the number one cause of death for kids in this country, and we really had no holistic or comprehensive way of approaching it. And worse yet, we didn't even have, there wasn't available a place where to find out how to do that. And so this was really a response to that. So I convened experts from all over the country, not just to gun deaths in schools, but everywhere. The majority of gun deaths causing children in our country and death is suicide. So first and foremost, gathering all of these experts and these evidence-based protocols to action, which we published today and launched a website. It's allofuscan.org. Urge your viewers to go on it, because what it is there are tools there that people use. An everyday person, a mom, a dad, a neighbor, an employee, an employer, a member of an organization, to get tools to how do we prevent gun violence, going way upstream, way before somebody has their hands on a gun.
And it's much more than just policies, because I think sometimes when we sit back and we say, well, I couldn't do anything because there are certain laws or things in place, but these are really now tools for discussion points across the area.
They are. And, what I'm really excited about particularly are if there are five questions you can take to your school, to your employer, to your organization and say, do we have these things in place? First, going way upstream, teaching people about adversity tolerance and emotional social curriculums, which we know the data shows actually prevents gun violence. But more than that, do we train people in this organization or school how to recognize the signs of somebody being in crisis, and what to do when you see that, and really good models that you can actually grab and utilize and implement in your own organization or school. And then more importantly, the most important thing is really educating the public, which we have not done.
I think it's really interesting that you said that you gathered experts from around the country too, and there must be so many other places in the country and places that have been involved with shootings like we have in the Michigan area who say we need to do something about this. Have you been sharing different kinds of information with other cities and communities that are maybe trying to do the same thing that you are here?
That's really what we're in the process of doing. I've spoken while this commission is in formation and the working groups and working on the recommendations and protocols for action to many groups within the county and the state and all over the country. And people, there is a large appetite for this because people want to know how to protect our kids. And I think what we have really failed to inform people of is that you can actually be doing that in your home, way upstream, teaching your children and any child or person you're in contact with about what does it look like to be in a state of crisis and how do we navigate through it and what are the tools we can use so that it doesn't end up with a person with a gun in their hand. And legislation and safe storage laws are important, access to weapons important, but we've just completely ignored all of the other things. And so this website is basically a way for everybody to go on and utilize these tools and inform us, because it is a public health crisis. In 2021, before that, it was automobile accidents were the number one cause of death for kids. And now it's gun violence. And we've done a whole lot of stuff educating our kids about how to, look both ways before you cross the road, always buckle up, don't text and drive. We've done almost nothing to teach them how to be safe from gun violence.
And this really is a call for action. And I know sometimes when we do our jobs and then all of a sudden we are faced with either a story or cases now that you have prosecuted, and I think about the Oxford High School shooting, that maybe almost just changed the trajectory or the focus of things that we like to do. I know that you were with families who have been impacted with gun violence today. How has, I guess, interfacing with people personally, and how have some of these personal stories changed how you have thought about the job at the prosecutor's office and how you want to move forward with some of these changes?
It's everything. Once you are sitting in firsthand the consequences and result of a tragic accident or a tragic death like that, a murder, and not just the parents of Oxford, but 7-year-old girls getting gunned down on the street in Pontiac. Once you are exposed to that and you see it, just like so many other people, there's a responsibility there to first I educate myself, and second, to at least start a conversation and educate people about what we can do instead of just arguing about guns.
So how can people get more information about the All of Us Foundation, Karen?
Go to allofuscan.org. You can sign up. You can uh, let us know that you want to know more. The tools are many of the tools are already there on the website. And a few weeks down the road, we're actually going to be publishing and putting on the website curriculum-based videos where people can partner with us and train to bring that into their own schools and organizations, and really start a conversation that first and foremost informs the public, but really gives people a tool, because right now so many of us feel helpless and we are not.
I want to ask you two more questions. I guess first off, when so many people got to know you watching the prosecution of the parents of the Oxford High School shooter, we streamed it here on Local 4 Plus, the entire trials, both of them. And then a documentary was done on Hulu. I was interested to see what the reaction has been to that after that crew embedded with you throughout that entire prosecution. And if you've talked to any other prosecutors around the country who are encountering perhaps similar cases or thinking about similar prosecutions.
It certainly changed the lives of hundreds of people, including mine and a lot of the people on our team. I think any attention given to that tragedy only helps the public understand that we have a public health crisis and we need to do more than just hope and pray and wait for the next event. In terms of the Oxford prosecution, I think a lot of lessons were learned from that. Certainly not an invitation to charge parents for what their children do. It was an extreme set of facts, and I think most people who have any familiarity with the case knows that. But I'm working with the parents of the Oxford kids who were killed, as well as other victims of gun violence, because what they want is change. They want to know that what happened was not senseless, that we can learn from it, that we can take these protocols for action and bring them to our schools and say, we can't stand by and wait for this to happen again. It's preventable. And here is the information, and here are the tools to make sure that we keep our kids safe, which is what everybody wants.
Yeah, and that people don't forget what happened to their children. My last question for you, Karen. Of course, last week, officials with the State Appellate Defender Office filed an appeal for the Oxford High School shooter for his sentence. Do you have any comment on that?
I believe in the appellate process and expected an appeal, which we have in every case we prosecute. But today is about victims. And one of the folks that we partnered with for All of Us was the No Notoriety group, which really focuses on when this kind of tragedy and gun violence occurs, we spend so much time talking about perpetrators and not enough time talking about victims. And what the victims here want, and they were in the room today, is to make sure it doesn't happen again. And allofuscan.org is where you can go and help join the team and help us really prevent, to save our kids. No parent should have to worry when they drop their kid off from school that they might not see them again.
Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald, thanks so much. We're going to have this information up on clickondetroit.com so people can learn more and they can get involved should they want to. Really appreciate your time today.